So in this live video, I'm going to try to implement some advice that I was giving in the Discord, in the Noodle Discord, because I know that when I say things like this, that's like someone asked me a question about how would I set up an audio chat room in Noodle, and when someone asks a question like that, I would straight away start thinking about an answer because I love thinking up solutions to problems like that I haven't worked on before. And I started fleshing it out, and I'm realizing, okay, this is not really like a guide that someone could follow unless they were the person who asked the question might be very independent, and they might go away and learn all this stuff on their own. But I thought I could also just do a video, and then it would teach me how to do it, which would be fun because I've never done it before. And also just show maybe some simple concepts that I repeat quite often, like why don't you set up your own server and just do your own backend thing. Don't rely on Noodle to do everything for you. You know, you should never rely on one tool to do everything for you. Then if that tool disappears, if something happens with that tool, then you've got a problem. So that's something I think is important to learn, to be independent from one particular building tool and say, yeah, I can set up my own server on Amazon and do things like that. That mean that I don't, whether I'm using Noodle or Bubble, the server that I set up stays the same. It's my server and I know how to set it up, and I don't need to rely on anyone for it. And if it goes down, then I can set up a different one with a different library. No big deal. So this is called Peer.js. It was recommended by ChatGPT, I think, for doing this particular solution. So it is a front-end library, which they talk about here. So they've got a JavaScript file with everything you need to do what they would tell you to do to set up data connections, receive data connections, do all these calls and stuff, which I have no idea if I'm going to be able to do, but I have my trusty ChatGPT by my side, so should be able to do something. And there's a backend part then, because what this is doing is using webRTC, which is like a browser universal library or system or whatever you call it in programmer world, that enables two people to set up a call without having too much weight on the server that's using the call. You just, a browser can connect to another browser using these WebSockets that we'll be setting up in the server to be able to stream my audio to you and your audio to me, and potentially lots of people's audio. I hope it's not just P2P, but we'll find out if I can do a room. Not just single P2P, like not just one-to-one, which is sometimes the case with these kind of libraries, that between one-on-one, if each person has a reasonable internet connection, it can handle the weight of having to transfer the audio from you, upload, and download the audio from the other person. If you have a good enough internet connection, that should be okay. If you have hundreds of people, then you're sending your audio, uploading to hundreds of people, and you're also downloading audio from hundreds of people at the same time. So with video calling, that's just unmanageable. You can't, video calls, I've seen statistics on video calling saying you can't really get more than like 3 people into a call. 4, it starts to get really slow unless you have a super like fiber optic internet connection. And there is a limit to how many people you can have on one connection. With the audio, it's probably a lot higher because audio streaming is probably quite light compared to video. It's definitely a lot lighter than video. But that's not to say that that there isn't some sort of limit. So the handy thing about having a server for video calling would be potentially the server can handle some of that streaming and redistribution, so you don't have to download 100 different streams. You download one stream of 100 people, and it's the server that's managing the 100 streams, pulling them in and concatenating them together. So this is not what I don't think is happening here. I think the PeerServer is just for brokering. It's just a connection broker. So it's just saying, okay, I see you want to connect. I'm gonna open a WebSocket with this other person, and then I'll fire the audio through to them, or I'll show them where to go. Perhaps not actually take the audio and throw it to someone else, but just I'll show the audio where to go, where to be sent to, something like that. I don't know, but we'll find out. So we're also going to need to have the PeerServer. They have a PeerServer that you can use, but I thought that doesn't seem like it really is active. I don't know, but anyway, I thought we'll just use our own because, like I said, don't rely on someone else to do stuff for you. So this is the PeerServer part, which is more meaty than the simple front end part. It's doing a lot more. So we need to install this, and I'm going to probably just do a simple npm install the node package manager. It's just, we'll install it like a program on a computer, hoping that the computer has all the things that are needed to install it. That's the difference between using something like npm or using something like Docker, where when I install it on Docker, Docker will automatically get everything that's needed, and it will become the perfect computer to run the package. So the package will tell it you need this, this, and this library at this and this and this version. So download those before you start, and so Docker handles all that in a little container. And then when you load up the whatever it is, it doesn't matter where you are on a Mac and Linux, Windows, Docker will have that container be the perfect little container for your particular project. So that's the idea with Docker, but I didn't want to just use npm. I wanted to just do a simple install for the simple test. And so we're going to start with Amazon. So what we need, so why am I using Amazon? I needed to set up this server on a Linux distribution, a Linux server. And Amazon provides a really nice service. It's often you can get things for free, especially just for testing. With EC2, it sets you up a little computer, virtual computer, in the cloud, in the Amazon cloud. And so we can create an instance, launch an instance of the server. We're going to call this webRTC test. We're going to use, so they have Amazon Linux, they have all sorts of different operating systems. We're just going to use Ubuntu because I don't know if there's any recommendation of what we should be using. Here, sometimes it said like you should use a particular kind of server, but they don't seem to say anything about that. So like, you know, a particular distribution of Linux, like this runs best on Linux 22 or, sorry, Ubuntu 22. Or something like that, but this will probably be fine. So it's free tier eligible, that's great. And we're going to, I don't really need to do anything else here, just let it do all its default stuff. We're going to use the T2 micro because that's free tier eligible. Could also use the free the nano as well, probably will work fine. But this will be free for something like 3 months, or I can't remember what. So it's enough for testing, so it's perfect for us. We need a key pair. So we need to be able to log in, we're going to have to do SSH, secure socket hosting, can't remember. So we're going to make a key pair called, what are we going to call this? PeerJS. And RSA and PEM and whatever, when prompted, store the private key and da. Okay, so we'll just create that. So we've got the key. Means that it'll be expecting this key that I've just downloaded to be sent over with the request to log into this computer. So we're going to need that. Okay, network settings, don't really need to change anything here. We're going to allow SSH traffic from, so you could specify your IP. If your IP is fixed and doesn't change, then that would be a good idea, because it means that the connection to the server will only come from your computer. It's not going to, there's nobody can hack into it. Nobody else will be allowed to SSH unless they can spoof your IP, which they probably can if they really want to, but they'd have to find out your IP first. Otherwise, you just say anywhere 0000. So as this is a test server, let's leave it at 000. But I would say, yeah, if you're doing a serious implementation, maybe start to make like a custom list of IPs where the connection can come from, so that you're not, so you don't get hacked easily. And there are lots of other things you're going to do to not get hacked, like setting up firewalls in the server and stuff like that. It's not ChatGPT can help you with all these things. We're going to have an 8 gig storage on a volume that probably will also be 30 gigs of storage for free, so it's fine. And there we go, free tier. And your first year includes 750 hours. Oh, good. 750 divided by 24. It's 31 days, a month, sorry, my bad. So a month of free usage, and then but that per year, so they will start charging me eventually, but it's like, I don't know, €5 a month or something like that, so it's not exactly huge money. Anyway, we're going to launch this instance. It's going to take a while to set up, so I'm going to pause, and I will come back when it is ready. So we're good. It's set up. So I'm going to do the thing that you would never recommend that anyone do. I'm going to show you the key that I downloaded so that we can get into the SSH thing. Oh no, well, I don't need to show the key, do I? PEM, what does that do? Ignore all the princesses, by the way. I have 2 little girls who love princesses. I cannot import. I can't remember how to use the key. Oh, come on, ChatGPT. Let's just help me because it's been a while since I've done the EC2 login. Can you please explain how I can SSH from macOS into my EC2 server using the .pem file Amazon download? We'll open up Warp because I like Warp. I don't like Terminal anymore. Got converted by a YouTuber and they're using Warp. I can't remember who it was. I'll give him proper credit if I can remember. So this is a really nice alternative to the terminal in macOS, because you can go back through commands that you've done before and look at what you've been doing before and retrieve things way more easily than you can with terminal. And you can save commands and stuff. You can make collections of commands, so it's pretty cool. Here we go. So this is like, the only reason I know any of the terminal stuff I know is because of ChatGPT. I never was interested in terminal stuff or server stuff that much before. I did the basics, but like did it in a simple way, and now I'm able to do it a bit more advanced because I actually asked ChatGPT the questions and followed the guides, and now I feel like I can actually do this stuff pretty comfortably. So for anyone who's watching this, just like, oh, I can't do any of this stuff, it's too complicated, really just follow ChatGPT and ask like, oh, point 1, I don't know where to find it. It'll say it was probably downloaded into your downloads folder. So like you can ask it for any clarification you need on any of the answers. So I'm not going to set file permissions. I have a feeling, oh, the permissions are too open. Well, we'll see. We'll come back to this. It's probably not necessary. So we need to find the path to your key, which in my case is going to be, yeah, okay. Well, Warp will help me with that. And then we need the username with the key and the server address. So that will come from AC2. So instances, there's my webRTC test. This is the instance. This is just a little mini virtual computer running in the cloud that I can access and run, just like if I had a computer sitting next to me, like a tar, server sitting next to me, it would be the same sort of thing. Or if you were running Linux on your computer in something like Boot Camp or whatever, the virtual machine that you like to use. So auto-assigned public IP address, this is probably the one I need. And the username, do I have a username? Do I need to do it in IAM? Amazon's user management thing? For Amazon Linux IAM, the username, for Ubuntu, it is Ubuntu or root. Okay, well, we'll try root then, see what happens. So we're gonna do, what does it say to do? SSHI. So SSHI, users, Richard. Oh, we're actually in Richard Osborne downloads already. Well, that's fine. I'll just do it. Man, so this is the absolute path, and we're gonna, and the name of it was peerjs.pm. Peerjs. Not even suggest it to me because it's so useful. I love it. I'm gonna find the guy who recommended this and give him some credit because he deserves it. It's 146.1. No, that's not the IP. I think it's suggesting probably an older one, so that's okay. And then we forgot the user, so it was root at there. Let's see what happens. The authentication, it can't be established. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. So it's just going to add that to my Mac fingerprints of things that are allowed or not allowed. Well, there you go. The permissions are too open. We did not allow. As ChatGPT told me, I ignored it. I've learned my lesson. So chmod 400 is going to change the permissions on that file, and we're going to do. I could probably just, because I'm already in the downloads folder, I can probably just tell it to do it from here. So here, JS, there it is. Nice. And now, please log in as user Ubuntu rather as user root. Okay, I can do that. So I just Control C to close the connection. I'll try again. Ubuntu. Oops. Look where I am now. I'm in the Amazon cloud. Wow, so exciting. So I'm actually in Amazon's computer, and this is their Ubuntu distribution that they've set up for me. It is totally fresh. So we're going to do apt-get, upgrade. No, sudo apt-get upgrade, because I can be a super user if I want to be. Sudo apt-get update. It's going to update all of the basic stuff that comes with this like out of the box distribution of Ubuntu, just to make sure that everything is at the latest version before we get started. And so while it's doing that, that's all good. We're going to need to start following this guide. So if you don't want to develop, just enter the few commands. Install the package globally. We're probably going to have to install npm first. Sudo apt-get npm. No. How do I install npm? Probably people are laughing their heads off right now, but in the programmer world, how do I install npm, please? The one thing that I keep telling people about ChatGPT when people say, why do you use it for your job so much? And do you not think it's like a bit cheating or something? I'm like, oh, actually, hold on. No. How do I install npm on Ubuntu? I tell them, you know what? I've never had somebody who could answer questions that I consider to be very stupid. That would be laughable maybe to someone, you know, like, oh, you clearly haven't done even like day one of the programmer training, you know, because there's an install word missing. So, and so it really is, you know, it feels good to just be able to ask all the stupid questions. And I think that's when I see people saying, oh, I don't think I'm very technical, I've never done any coding, I couldn't do this. I'm like, yes, you can. And I was the same, a year ago, year and a half ago. And when ChatGPT came out a year ago, then that just transformed my ability to work on stuff like this. So, and I have a high tolerance for not understanding what's going on here at the moment. I know it's installing packages, but I wouldn't know what to do with it if there was an error or something broke down. I would just copy paste the error into ChatGPT, which again might be something that seems a bit, you know, Philistine or vulgar to somebody who's a programmer, but this is how I've been learning this year. And I think continuing learning like this, I'm going to eventually know how to do these things on my own. And I feel like I'm kind of doing on-the-job training. Like it's as if I'm sitting in my first programmer job next to a professional programmer who's very happy to answer any stupid questions I have all day long, and they never complain. So that's something pretty magical, I have to say. So that's good. Then we're going to have npm, which is the node package manager, which we need to install the server. So, oh look, do I need to restart these services? I don't know. Sure, why not? Whatever you say. Like I said, high tolerance for not knowing. I wouldn't get to this page and be like, oh my god, what do I do now? I just say, you know what, it's probably fine. Let's just say okay and see what happens. And if everything breaks down, just do sudo reboot or whatever it is to restart the machine, and it'll just restart the machine, and then you can start again and it'll be fine. Or kill the instance and make a new instance if you really mess everything up, you know, like there's no wrong answers. Like there's no, oh, it's a disaster, everything's ruined. Sudo command not found, what? Oh yeah, because I pasted it with the freaking $sign. Yeah. High tolerance. Yeah, I wasn't joking. Okay, so it doesn't want to install it. Why not? Probably because I don't have any permissions, because I didn't do it with sudo. So I'll do super user do. Cheating, I know. Should have set up a separate super user and not used the default one or whatever. I'm sure, something like that. Don't care. Run the server. PeerJS port 9000 key. Start a PeerServer on. Okay. So we're gonna start the PeerServer on. Maybe I'll do it sudo just in case. Sometimes it's not necessary, or even sometimes it doesn't work because it doesn't want you to run as super user. So we're doing port 9000. That sounds fine. Oh, we're gonna have to open that, aren't we? No, because there's no firewall. Port 9000 key peer.js and path. So yeah, we don't need that. And path, we would change the path to be webRTC training test. A bit shorter, keep it short. WebRTC test. Wow, that didn't work. Try without sudo. Again, same thing. Wow. File import from NodePath. Okay, this might be too long for ChatGPT. Let's see. Unexpected token loader strategy. Okay. Can you please help me? I say please because I don't want it to take over the world and think that I was impolite. Can you please help me debug this message trying to start PeerServer? Is it too long? No, it's okay. Check Node.js version first. First, check your correct Node script running appears to use EC. So we're going to do Node version. Okay. Node 12.22. So that's all not good. So we need to update it. So your Node version is older than 13. You should update it. nvm install Node. Oh, I don't have nvm. I have to install that, I guess. Enable the locate package nvm. Okay. My Ubuntu doesn't recognize nvm. No version business, no problem. Install nvm. Okay, let's do that. Looks good, doesn't it? No. Update your profile script should automatically add. It did indeed do that. If it doesn't, it did, because we can see it here. Nice, it updated the profile to have the addresses for all this stuff. nvm version command nvm not find. Update your profile. It doesn't exist. You need to add the mandate to this text file. Okay. The joys. Is there another way to update Node? Okay. Sudo apt-get update. Should have waited to do this then, I guess. Didn't really update anything though, did it? So what was it, the Node version? Would be still 12.22. So if we wanted to use Node version 16, we would use this apt-get install. Okay, let's try that one. Script depreciation, the script is depreciated will be inactive. Alright, well, we'll just not do that. npm install ng and noticed. Okay, that sounds nice. Let's do that. Install the latest version using n. Getting a bit impatient, so I'm just copy pasting now. I don't really want to understand what's going on here. We're in 21 now. Use the manufacturer. Okay, and now we do our thing again that we tried to do before. There it is. Nice. So it's listening on port 9000. So how do we test it? If you have your own server, you can attach PeerServer. Oh yeah, we need to run it in the background so we can do the other stuff. Check it on, it should return a JSON with name, website description fields. Okay, so let's do this. It was webRTC tests. Nope. Let's try localhost. Refuse to connect. Oh, because we're not in flipping. So we're not there. We're not there. So we're going to use the public IP port 9000. Maybe this will work, or maybe it's going to block me. I don't know. WebRTC tests. We use the EC2. We're not on localhost. We're not on, we're using a machine in the Amazon cloud. So that is not going to work. Probably this won't work either because it's not going to let me connect from outside so easily. From outside would be a bit funny, wouldn't it? Private IPv. DNS only. Can we use, oh, there maybe. One, no, it's the same one. Open address. Yeah, I think it's not going to let us go in. It's timing out, which means that it's kind of blocking the request and waiting until it times out, not letting any information get through. Okay. But it might be working. It started anyway, so that's we've made some very big progress here. So I think today we've done EC2 server setup, we've done setting up the Ubuntu environment, we've done installing our local PeerJS version. So next time we're going to do trying to do our first calls. I guess I'm going to have to find out how to open up the ports to be able to reach the IP and the thing that we just set up, and then trying to make that possible to make calls from outside. So we can make calls from my computer or from Noodl or from wherever, from Postman, to try to get into the server and interact with that system. And then we'll try to do one from 2 different browsers to see if we can make a connection across 2 different browsers to be able to hear myself speaking to myself. So got some ways to go, but I think that was a good start. And yep, that's good enough for today.